So great to be here with you, Mavis, today here in your home in
Nice to have
Macclesfield.
you.
Yeah, thank you for having me in the UK, and it's always a pleasure to be with you, and we don't really have a lot of time to catch up actually, because whenever we meet each other, it's in the seminars, it's in the workshops, so yeah, I'm really thinking about the time when we first met, and I think it's almost a decade ago, and I remember I went to the AFC for the first time. I guess it was in 2010, and I think because I went to different courses, and it was very interesting for me, but then I met you finally, and I said, okay, so this is really where I feel that I finally have arrived with the right teacher, and yeah.
Well, you know, the history of the AFC, the Arthur Findlay College, really, you would have been coming halfway through it. It had been established by then. And the guy that Arthur Findlay, who actually left the college to us, he said in one of his letters that they would come from all over the world. And at the time, Stansted Airport was so small, it was only for the Air Force. So his prediction, of course, has come true over the years.
Yeah, because it's so close. It just feels like it's the airport to the other for
Absolutely.
the other Findlay College. And,
Absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, it was very very strange for me when I got there for the first time, because I was sitting in a circle in Germany, and you know, in Germany there isn't a lot going on and not a lot of training. So I heard of the other Findlay College, and then I booked myself a flight and I flew over. And while I was sitting in the plane, I got so nervous. I said, oh my God, what will think about me? Am I really getting into it? Or will they think that I'm a total fake? But I had wonderful teachers, I have to say. And that's really where I got started, and I got addicted, kind of. And it's also that if you're coming into the college, for me it felt like I'm home. You know, and I'm home not only in this building, but I'm home, and I found my faith, and I found my truth in a way.
Yeah,
you know?
I think you hear that a lot, don't you? It's like going home. I feel like that when I go to Lilydale, which is in the USA, and I feel as if I've gone home there, because of course that was the centre of spiritualism in America. So I love that side of it, okay, and I can understand where you're coming from. And of course the college gave you the opportunity of getting a good foundation, I would think.
It did, absolutely, and also a wide knowledge and about different topics and spiritualism, and but actually it was only with you when you started to be my mentor that I really got deeper into it, and I really got this seed of truth, and also this soul work and the importance of the soul.
Yeah, faith and belief and trust in the Great Spirit. It's really good to see you progressing, and I've watched you over the years, and I've watched you actually come into full bloom, really. I know your faith, but I can see your excitement at sharing what you believe, because of course that's important as well. So you've got your education, you've got your faith, and now you've got your excitement, which I think is remarkable. But you know, I know very, very little about the history of Germany. I'm sorry to say that, by the way. I know quite a lot about other countries, but I don't know much about Germany, and what the history of mediumship is over there, and how you actually sit and develop and unfold it. Because, you know, although I've been your mentor, you've got to take what I've given you, but then you've got to adapt it to the understanding of your people, because that's how we progress. Okay, so what's mediumship like over there? Is there a lot of mediums?
Well, it's completely different, I have to say. And coming back to the history that you just mentioned, well, there have been mediums, and especially physical mediums, during the 1920s, and there were quite a great number in Berlin, and they had seances, and mediumship was developing, and it was flourishing as well. and then we had this sad time of the Second World War and the Third Reich, and so everybody who didn't fit the norm was erased, and they had been put in the concentration camps. So it was like we had this hard, sharp cut after 1945, and so we had to restart anew, and that's where we are currently in the situation. Of course there are mediums, but there are, compared to other countries, there are only a handful of mediums. And if I look to our neighbors, say like Holland or Switzerland, there are much more mediums compared to Germany. So we have to restart and also to find our pathway again in mediumship in a way.
Yes, I can understand where you're coming from now, because you know, our history, of course, is totally different to yours. Because during the Second World War and the First World War, mediumship was on its rise, because people wanted to know where their sons and their grandsons and their husbands had gone when they died, and so there was a great upsurge at that stage. And what a remarkable time that was for our mediums in the UK, and how sad it must have been for those in Germany, where they would have been cut off from their life source, because it is your life source. That's what you've been born to do.
Definitely.
You know, it's in your gene, it's genetic. And it would be, it'll be lovely to see it blossom. And I'm sure that you'll be seen in the future as one of the pioneers of spiritualism. Of course, the churches, we have churches here. They're not perhaps as relevant as they were in those days. But even so, well, tomorrow night you'll be with me working on a platform in a church.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Yes, it will be wonderful, because we've never worked together in that professional way, have we? And it's more of a professional demonstration tomorrow night. So I'm really looking forward and excited about that. So that's something that we're going to do, and then perhaps we're going to do more in the future, because you know, the opportunity for our mediums to actually learn about other people's growth and how their mediumship flowered and how they are trained. If we can travel to one another's countries, we can learn from each other.
Yes.
And that's how we grow and develop. So who knows, you know, the world, here I come. It's a small world now, isn't it, that we live in. Our history of the churches, of course, began with Emma Hardinge Britten. And she was a tremendous pioneer, and I just thought of her when I was talking about you in 100 years' time, after you've been in the spirit world, and talking about Karen, who did this and started that and changed the world, kind of thing. And from her, of course, we started to get the Spiritualist National Union, trying to bring everybody together to actually find an education level, because you know, you can be a medium, but without the education, without the understanding and the theory and the knowledge behind it, then you're very dangerous. You can be very dangerous in people's lives, you know. So actually the foundation stones have to be laid, and I presume that that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to sow seeds so that as the future mediums come up, they blossom.
Oh, definitely.
It's interesting, the histories in both our countries, really, isn't it? And how we overlap, and to actually bring it together now and share our histories, when you think that in the past there was always this divide, and look at us now, sharing the future. And I'm sure there will be people on both sides, English and German, who will be saying, thank God, we've got peace with our countries, you know. And again, that's mediumship, that's the spirit world working to actually create as much peace as they can between the two worlds.
Exactly, and even if we have a complete different situation, as we don't have any churches, it's still, I mean, we are all the same people. We are losing our loved ones, and we are mourning, and it's important for us to hear about them. And so we are all coming from the same core.
Absolutely.
And so there are no borders. And if we are doing mediumship, it's all about the language of the soul and connecting on a soul level. there's no English, there's no German, so no matter where we come from. And so, yeah, I was talking about the churches here in England, and even if we don't have any of those, for me it was very important to create a place like this, not a church, but just a place where people can come together, and where mediumship can blossom. And so I'm going to open up my center in March 2018, and that will be a center of coming together. We call it Forum, actually. Mediumship will be taught in a good way and with a high standard, which is very important for me. So there will be demonstrations of mediumship, private sittings, and people just can come together and can exchange, because I also feel this need that people sometimes just feel that they are left alone or left behind in a way, and there's nobody to exchange. So we would like to provide this forum also for those people to that they can exchange. So.
And of course that was what the union meant to be.
Yeah.
The exchange of ideas and a way of going forward. And of course it will be spiritual, because I believe that all countries, and I travel extensively across the world now, and the people I talk to, they want that spiritual soul-spirit connection. Not necessarily do they want to label it, they just want the freedom to explore the spirituality and the philosophy, which of course you're interested in as well as I'm interested in. Because, you know, we have to not expect everybody who enters our churches or your centre to want to be a medium. They may just come for the refreshment of the soul. They may come for the philosophy, they may come for the healing, they may come just to be able to hold discussions and you know, for them to be able to question what we're doing. And I think questioning questions and answers are so important. So important. Whether people take it on board is immaterial. We know. And as long as we're sowing the seeds, we're doing the job we should be doing.
And it's always since I'm doing mediumship and bringing people together. It's always that you're meeting like-minded souls, and as I already said, there is no border between England and Germany anymore. But through the AFC and of course, through your mentorship, where I met lovely people from all around the world, and we are staying connected, and there is this exchange, and this is very, very valuable. And so I had this wonderful opportunity not only to work with you here in the UK, but so now I have been invited to teach in Holland, and I went to Switzerland. So, and there are much more opportunities coming up, and maybe hopeful one day I might go to the USA.
Oh, I hope you do. I hope you do. But again, when we look at the USA, they have churches, but they have independent centres. The mediums are there, we have some wonderful teachers over there, and we have this growth of spirituality. Actually I want to understand what my soul's doing, I want to understand what this spiritual quest is that I got. I'm so pleased with that, because I know for you in particular that love of the soul and the spirit in mediumship has become an essential part for you.
Oh, absolutely it has. And that's also what I'm really focusing on when I'm teaching my students. It's not about the mechanics of mediumship, and that's where they have to start. It's about their own soul and the awareness of their own soul, and about their soul path. And then I will continue with mediumship and the evidence, and so, but I have this foundation, and that's what I want to teach them.
Yes, and it is the foundation, isn't it? Because we know that with our mediums that they need to have that connection with that inner being, don't they? A strong faith and belief, whether they want to call it God, the Great Spirit, no matter what title they give that power, they have to have that connection with that power for them to be able to connect with the spirit world. For me, that really is the most fragile part at the beginning of the journey. If we can get that right at the beginning of the journey, where they know they're in touch with the soul and the spirit of themselves, then it makes the connection, the communication between the two worlds so much richer. Absolutely. And so much more alive and vibrant.
Yeah.
And I see you progressing with that, and I know you like speaking, public speaking, and giving the philosophy. So you do my heart good.
Oh, thank you. That does my heart good to hear. So.
The other side of it, of course, is we do have to teach the mechanics. We do have to teach them how the theory about the clairs and all the other attributes that go to the mediumship. And of course, you must have the same problem that they have all over the world, that we have very good psychics that will never become mediums. Yeah. And we've got very good mediums that are not really interested in the psychic. Yeah. And yet, for me, you see, the two should run together. And I see people demonstrating, and I think to myself, no, you're a psychic. You're not in touch with the spirit world. And then you go to see someone else and you think, oh, wow, we've got a connection with the spirit there. Because when you're in touch with the spirit, you actually can feel the presence as they touch the medium. So you feel the spirit world's presence actually hitting the medium and then going to the sitter or going to the public. Yeah. And for me, that's the icing on the cake.
Oh, definitely. Like that. Oh, definitely. But that's also where I see my big responsibility, especially when I'm teaching, because some of my students are even not aware whether they are psychic or mediums, and I think some of them even don't know that there is a difference in between. So I really have to start at zero by teaching them, and and they have to learn, and also that they can feel the difference when they are working psychically or mediumistically. So this is really, it takes a big part in my own mentorship that I'm running, I told you about, and I'm really focusing on it because this is so exciting, and it's a complete different vibration. I remember when I started to be your student, you always compare it, like when you are working with the spirit world, it's like a bottle of champagne, and that's what I actually are using this term when I'm working with my students.
It's absolutely beautiful because you're uplifted, you're transported, aren't you, from this world to the next. With the psyche, it's heavier because you're actually in touch with the person here. Yeah. And because there is a heaviness here, that's why you don't get that uplift in the same way, do you? So yes, with the psyche, you can pick up such a lot of information, can't you? And sometimes, you know, I've seen recipients actually being hoodwinked by a psychic, okay? And unfortunately, the psychic thought they were involved with the spirit world. So, you know, without that training, without that time, you know, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a psychotherapist, if you want to be a hypnotherapist, anything that you want to be, you have to study.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got to study for a long period of time. And you can't just say, bang, it's here and I'm doing it. You've got to have the study behind it. Because we're no different.
Of course not. And I think some people just underestimate the importance of learning that craft, because it is a craft.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And of course, when you at first when you see the spirit world and they come to you, you're so excited that you've seen this other world, and you want to prove to everybody that you do see this other world. And I think that sometimes it isn't that I don't think they even think that they need to study because they see the spirit world and they hear them. And you know, when they come to your centre in the future, you'll have people coming that really have spent perhaps their childhood, their teen years, feeling very lonely and very out of sorts with the rest of humanity because they see the spirit world. And then you'll get the others that think, well, it's quite normal. Everybody should be able to see this. And actually, when they come, it's that lovely realisation of nurturing them into the understanding of it, isn't it? You know, I always feel that when somebody comes and says, well, how did it happen? what did I do? You know,
Yeah.
I think that that's the beautiful start of watching people unfold.
Oh, definitely, and they are all so different, and so it's always so important for me to look at them individually, and you can't put them in a box and just teach them all the same thing. And that's also, it's exciting, you know, and to see them unfold after a while and in the direction where they are going, and they're all blossoming, all in a different way. But it is exciting for me as a teacher as well.
I love to watch the auric field, and when they come it's like this, and then slowly but surely it starts to expand, and they begin to recognise that they're part of a family, really. Because as mediums we are genetically part of the same family, aren't we? Because mediumship's genetic, of course. So so that's the other attribute that comes forward that brings peace to our people. But what I find with, and I find this with a few countries in the world, that some of them, and particularly with you, so I'm going to talk about you if I may for a moment, because when I first met you, you were so serious. You were so serious. Getting you to smile and getting you to relax was very difficult. I don't know if all your people are going to be like that, but could I tell you, it's hard work. All right. But I don't know if you remember this closed-in person that knew who they were, but really didn't want to move too far. Okay, and now look at you, the teacher, the leader, the inspirer. Here you are in this place now, where you're open and people can become aware of your auric field and feel the comfort and support from you. To me, Karen, at the end of my life, if I have given support and people have felt comfortable in my presence, then I will have done my job, and I'm sure you're going to do exactly the same. Well, it's been good. I've enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, and so did I, and thanks a lot again for chatting and catching up with you, and so I'm really looking forward to our demonstration and to see you in the future, and also to hopefully see you in my center in Germany one day.
Well, I was just going to say, we'll be watching the computer and seeing it coming up, won't we? You'll be showing us the photographs when you're painting and when you're decorating and when you're putting things in and getting it ready. So we shall share that excitement with you, all the way through, but I promise one day I will come.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mavis.
Thank you.